Good evening, I'm Shehan Jayasinghe and this is UCA News. The top stories tonight. Anti-capitalist protests continue in New York and London as police move in to evict demonstrators. Italy has a new Prime Minister as Mario Monti is brought in to deal with the country's debt crisis. The Danish Prime Minister visits the UK for talks with David Cameron about the economy. And Capello's England continue their winning form. But first, over 70 arrests have been made as police moved in to remove Occupy Wall Street protesters from Zuccotti Park in New York. Local authorities had ordered protesters to leave the park in Lower Manhattan by 1 AM. However, once these requests had been ignored, police began dismantling tents and removing property. Demonstrators spilled out onto the streets after New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg had ordered their eviction. He believed their presence posed a health and safety risk.
The majority of protesters have been peaceful and responsible, but an unfortunate minority has not been. And as the number of protesters has grown, this has created an intolerable situation. The First Amendment protects speech. It does not protect the use of tents and sleeping bags to take over a public space.
Following the eviction, the streets of Lower Manhattan bore witness to some ugly scenes, as there were several clashes between police and protesters. The camp in Zuccotti Park was set up in September to demonstrate against a financial system that protesters believe only benefits wealthy individuals and corporations. Similar protests have sprung up all around the world, including outside St Paul's Cathedral back at home in the UK. The City of London Corporation is expected to hand a legal notice to protesters camped outside the cathedral. Talks between the authorities and protesters have been ongoing for a month, but so far no agreement has been reached. In European news, it's been a turbulent week in Italian politics, with the demise of Silvio Berlusconi and a new man installed to deal with Italy's mounting debt. Mike Bailey has the latest from Rome.
This is the man charged with dragging Italy out of the worst economic crisis in its history. Mario Monti faces the task of forming a government that will bring the Eurozone's third largest economy back from the brink of financial disaster. But what do we know about him? Mario Monti is a highly respected economist in Italy. As an EU commissioner, he was known for a tough negotiating style, and he is a strong advocate of the euro. The appointment of Mr. Monti has been met favourably by the Italian people, with many glad to see the back of former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi and a financial expert put in his place. With Italy's debt now standing at 1.7 trillion euros, Mr. Monti has said he will act with urgency to assemble a team of experts to restore order to Italy's battered public finances. Only time will tell if Mr. Monti's new government can avoid the financial chaos seen throughout the Eurozone. Mike Bailey, UCA News.
In UK news, Prime Minister David Cameron invited his Danish counterpart over to Westminster to discuss the current economic crisis in Europe. Helle Thorning-Schmidt held talks with Mr Cameron at his Downing Street home. She emphasised the importance of all European countries working together to resolve the debt problems facing the economy.
We have a difficult situation, but I think it will be even more difficult to get us out of this situation and get more growth and jobs in Europe if we don't stick together.
And finally, the Ministry of Defence have announced they are testing cruise missile weaponry using a new nuclear-powered submarine. The MOD released footage of HMS Astute firing Tomahawk missiles into the skies in the Gulf of Mexico. The submarine is due to start service in 2012 and has the largest weapon carrying capacity of all the Royal Navy's underwater fleet. Now with news of last night's football and all the sports, here's Jamie Rowe. Jamie.
Thanks, Shay. Yeah, it was certainly an interesting week for England as they stuttered to their second 1-0 victory of the international break, beating Sweden for the first time since 1968. With controversial captain John Terry returning to the side, England were watched by just under 50,000 fans, their smallest ever crowd at the new Wembley. Chances were few and far between in the low-key encounter, but midway through the first half, up stepped Man City's Gareth Barry, scoring England's 2000th goal with just a hint of a deflection. Newcomers Jack Rodwell and Phil Jones both came close with first-half chances, but it was Barry's header that separated the sides. Elsewhere in Europe, the Republic of Ireland cemented their Euro 2012 berth, A 1-1 home draw with Estonia securing a comfortable 5-1 aggregate victory in the qualifying playoffs. Portugal also impressed on the night, goals from Cristiano Ronaldo and Nani helping them to a 6-2 win over Bosnia after a goalless first leg. Now, figures past and present from the boxing world have attended the funeral of one of the sport's true greats, Joe Frazier, after he passed away last week from liver cancer. Former heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali, who famously fought Frazier in the Thriller in Manila, was one of many high-profile guests to pay their respects. Others included promoter Don King and former champ Larry Holmes, who had some kind words to say about his one-time rival, Frazier.
Joe Frazier is one of the greatest fighters of all time. There's only a few guys you can even put in that category. But Joe Frazier was one of the true fighters. Like he said, he'd go down, he'd get back up. Joe Frazier had nothing but fight in him.
And what's your best memory of him?
Thank you, sir.
Hitting me in my ribs.
Tennis now, and Andy Murray has been drawn in the same group as world number 1 Novak Djokovic for the season-ending ATP World Tour Finals at the O2 Arena in London. Murray will also come up against David Ferrer and Thomas Berdych in the round-robin stage of the tournament. Group B will see world number 2 Rafael Nadal take on Roger Federer, Joe-Wilfried Tsonga and Mardy Fish. Now to Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton says his win at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is a positive step in his personal life and career. The McLaren driver surged to victory at the Yas Marina circuit on Sunday, after world champion Sebastian Vettel retired following an uncharacteristic crash.
I feel fantastic. Really, I think it was one of my best races. I said that to myself as I slowed down. Just being able to hold one of the best drivers in the world off throughout the race is something that's very, very tough to do. And you know, just looking after the tyres, just managing the gap. Obviously, the team did a fantastic job with the pit stops, but I'm ecstatic. You know, I'm really very happy to be back up here, and you know, this is great. I can get on my flight tonight and smile.
He now lies 5th in the driver's standings, with one race remaining. That's all your sport. Back to you, Shehan.
Thanks, Jamie. Now, time for the weather. It will be cloudy and misty throughout the night, with temperatures approaching 5 to 6 degrees. Moving through the morning, it will remain cloudy but dry in most places, with the possibility of rain in eastern parts of Scotland. As the day progresses, the clouds will break, leading to sunny spells developing in many areas, with highs of 13 degrees in the south. By tomorrow evening, bands of rain will emerge from the west and slowly move across the country into Thursday morning. A reminder of our top stories. Occupy Wall Street protesters face eviction in New York. Mario Monti attempts to form a new Italian government. And boxing greats gather to pay respects to the late Joe Frazier. That's all for the UCA News at 6. We'll be back with more at 10. Goodbye.